We have a series of prescribed burn units on the lower Go Road where it steps off that high bar from the old Klamath River down to the valley that are in the footprint of the 2013 Orleans fire. And so typically just becomes basically this ticking time bomb of fuels where you have the limbs from the snags come down first and all that regrowth comes up, and it's all even age, it's all the same age. And so if that's allowed to grow up for 20 or 30 years and then all that dead fuel is falling into it, it becomes this carbureted mixture which just, you know, it can start and make wildfires that are unstoppable and are a real threat to the community. There's still so much wood that it would have caused this huge threat to the town of Orleans. And so typically we don't burn units every year, except grassland areas can be burned every year. And there is a lot of grass in there, but really the reason we're burning it 2 years in a row is because last year when we burned it, it was very wet. There was just a couple days in between the rains where we could get things to broadcast, and we didn't really consume much fuel at all. It was good training, but this year we're seeing drier weather, and we're able to consume a lot of that heavier wood and reduce that fuel loading on the ground. And it's really important, you know, every time you have a different fire, it makes a different age class of plants, because not every fire burns in the same place, you know, depending on the wind that day or the temperature or what, all these different factors, slope, aspect, how it was lit. And so that creates these uneven age classes of forest, and that's really important for diversity. So fire is an integral part of making that, and if we don't have fire, we see on the landscape today what we get, which is just an impenetrable thicket that you can't hunt in, you can't gather mushrooms in unless you're crawling on your knees, you know. And then in the middle of summer, when that driest point, you know, it can sustain the high severity fires that really threaten our community.
I guess what are some of your hopes or possibilities of what we'll see the next day after the smoke has subsided? Yeah,
well, you'll see a lot of those blackberries burned up. You'll see room for more of the native grasses to come in. You'll see a lot less limb wood on the ground, both from snags falling and from other trees, and we'll slowly be reducing that fuel load so that it never becomes that really major threat to the community that it would if we just left it alone for 20 years.